Welcome to Flock Talk, the podcast where we feature your favorite authors and narrators. Hosted by Craig Hart and Sarah Hannon. Visit us today at pinkflamingoproductions.com. And now, Flock Talk. Hello, all you happy flockers out there, and welcome to Flock Talk. My name is Craig Hart, and I'm here with my cantankerous co-host, Sarah Hannon. How are things going in your world, Grumpy?
Not bad. I ran around like a chicken with my head cut off making dinner, and then ran up here for this, which I'm very excited because I've always wanted to meet Connor Brown.
And now you have, virtually at least.
Can I talk about him?
Do it.
Connor Brown caught the acting bug in high school and has been infected ever since. As an award-nominated SAG-AFTRA narrator, he is holding out for retirement so he can narrate full-time. Connor lives in Northern Virginia with his family. Connor, thank you for being here.
Thank you for that intro. Sounds familiar. Sounds like some other guy.
So you freely admit to having caught the acting bug. Have you ever sought a cure, or is it a malady you're happy to live with, or...
It's a chronic condition I'll live with till I die.
What production gave you this bug?
It was high school. Something circus. It was a musical. But that was, and before that, little skits you do in elementary school and middle school. But it was high school where actually it was part of theater arts club. I was one of those kids. And I did a lot of the set construction, but I also did some of the acting too, and singing. And in musicals, singing is, you don't have to be Pavarotti, you just have to be decent. So oftentimes, and it was fun, and I loved it. But it just, life tends to lead you in directions that you either plan to go and they don't work out as well, or they just kind of happen. And, the acting thing just kind of went away for a while in the background because,
Yeah, but what brought you back to it? What brought you to narrating audiobooks? I
always wanted to do voiceover work. I got a certificate in 1990 from the Columbia School of Broadcasting. There was a one here in Northern Virginia in Fairfax. There was an actual studio. You would go in there and you do your thing, and then you would send your cassette tape to some guy in L.A. who would then send you back the tape with his own recording on his own tape about what you did. And so I have a radio announcing certificate, but that wasn't going to be a life I could really live. I met my wife very young. It was July 4th of 1990, so we're almost at, 32 years ago I met her. We were teenagers, and I met her then. And it just wasn't going to work. I couldn't, radio, being a DJ, I think a lot of those guys move around the country. Their jobs are very tenuous, they're not really stable. So I was looking for more stability, so I just led down that path after college, and it just went away. But I always had that in me. And so in 2011, I finished a master's program, and we had a closet here in the house. It was full of junk. And so I decided one day to tear it up and buy some foam and find a local voice coach who did voiceovers here in the county, and started doing that. And I got some cheap equipment, a mic and a processor, an old PC. Did a lot of internet research and stumbled across ACX. And ACX at that time was, I think, only 6 months old. So I was lucky enough to get in on the ground floor, really, of what that was. Excuse me. And then I got my first book. Probably I think it was April of 12. Yeah. And it went on sale in June. And I had no idea about pseudonyms or anything like that. It was me, and it was kind of a post-apocalyptic sort of book, which what I really enjoyed. So that was my thing for the longest time, for several years, was those types of books. And then one day I got approached about a romance, and I decided I needed to come up with a pseudonym. So that was what it was. There was either Connor Brown or Moses Nazareth.
Moses Nazareth.
Oh, did you flip a coin?
No. My wife made the call. But the person I was working with back then, she said, "Go for the love of God, it must be Moses Nazareth." I was like, no, I can't do that. And the rest is, how they say it's history. It just went on from there. So,
well, one of your more recent romance titles is King of Corium, or Corium. I'm not sure exactly which.
Corium.
Could you tell us a little bit about that audiobook?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And it's interesting, in the world of romance, there's all kind of fascinating subworlds, So that one is, that's about a school. It's a college in Alaska that's basically for criminals' children. And in this particular book, I'm the lead guy who's dealing with a girl who, of course, many romances are what they are. This is a girl he absolutely hates for various reasons. And then, of course, as time goes on and things happen, circumstances bring them together in a way that he begins to love her, more or less. And there's a lot of drama around that and what goes on in the school and what people think about her. And it's a good series. It's a three-book series, and I've already finished the last one, so...
Do you enjoy doing like a series, or do you prefer standalones, or?
No, I don't have a preference. So series are great because once you get it in your head, that the voices for the most part, that's a double-edged sword. Sometimes it's great, but if the series is, you do book one, today, June 2022, and hey, I got book two for you, and it's 2025. And I've had certain books like that. You're like, oh, shit. So you got to go back and find, listen to the voices again. And, I'm a dumbass. I don't generally keep voice tracks. I'm pretty good naturally at keeping them in my head sorted out. And so I'll go back and I'll make tracks for each person. And then, so I create work for myself. But the point is, I'd rather have them all together. I'm doing another series for a major publisher now that's a romance series. And it's 4 books, and they're big books too. And it's booked out through October. And it's a dual romance. I haven't started prepping that at all, but those are great because I'll be in that world through the end of the series. So I imagine. But no, standalones are fine too. Standalones are easier because the voices are there, done, and you move on, right? You don't have to worry about it again. The hardest books for me are the gay romances because,
So it's a lot of male voices.
It's a lot of male voices, and I my range is, I'm not bad, but I'm no R.C. Bray. I mean, that guy can he can put 1 million voices up in there. I have to of course it's tone and stuff like that, but sometimes I do it that way, and maybe I'll throw an accent in if the guy's Hispanic, because I'm Hispanic, but it's you can throw just a little bit of that sort of accent in there, from wherever he's from, and it's generic. I try not to, and this is me being lazy again. It's a lot of work to try to regionalize some of those accents because I don't think the average listener gives a damn or knows, frankly. Because when I listen to audiobooks and I listen to a ton of them, I don't know. Russian is Russian, right? European is sort of European. It doesn't bother my ear to, I'm like, that's not German. That is Czech, or something like that. You know what I mean? Right? That is Slovak. That is not Czech. He sucks. So, right?
And off goes the sternly worded email to the publisher.
Yeah, and I get the 1-star review. He sucks.
This book says he's in Mississippi. Clearly he's in Alabama.
Exactly. Right. Right. I don't think the average person knows. I mean, it's not like I'm trying to be, not the best I can be at it. But at some point, when you're putting out a lot of books, you have to sort of. I do my best. I try to do it.
What is a common myth about your job?
That it's easy. That's just reading. Yeah, well, you do it. My wife does it. My wife, God bless her, I love her. I mean, obviously, we're 30-some years. And I think she's joking with me, but sometimes she's like, "Oh, he's just reading," I'm like, "No, it's a lot more than that." I mean, if it was just reading, anybody could do it. And I still strive to be. I would like to break into other islands of the voiceover universe. There's certain ones I would like to do, but I've always been good at and happy with audiobooks, and they're marathon. They're marathons. Everything else is like sprints and 1,600-meter runs or something, but audiobooks are marathons, and I'm pretty good at remembering the names, keeping the pace, recording for a couple of days. I do a lot of recordings on the weekends and in the afternoons because I work full time. So I have to parcel my time out. And, it's hard. It's hard on the family sometimes, even though I'm in the house, in the house, but I'm not here. But they're really good. My kids have been great. They're both, one's in college now, the other one's going off this fall. And my wife is great because, when she sees the green, that changes the whole attitude. And my kids right? I mean, it does. It's just practical. But she knows I love it. Like, my job is just that. But this I freaking love doing. Even when I'm yelling at myself and pissed off in the booth for either I can't do a line or my stomach starts growling or whatever. Or sometimes we've all faced it where it's written like weird. And you're like, what the hell is this? And you have to read through it somehow and make it work. It's a lot. It's not easy. I mean, people who do it, I think, really have to love to do it, or you're not going to do it well.
You're so right about it being a marathon. I've interviewed some professional actors, like screen actors, movies, television, and they blanch at the thought of it doing like a 10-hour book. Like, what? They could never do it. There's no way. So it's a completely different world for sure.
Yeah.
You've played a lot of different characters throughout the narrating and all the books that you've done. What's your favorite type of character to play?
I guess sort of the asshole, the guy, not the tough guy, but just the guy who's like, yeah, whatever, this is what we got to do. The straightforward is kind of shooter, the straight shooter kind of person. I like those kind of the best. And those you find in some romances, you do. I find those a lot in the other universe of the thrillers and post-apocalyptic types. This one guy has me doing this he writes a ton of books with like PIs. I guess they all kind of have the same voice, but there's like 2 or 3 different names for these detectives, and it's kind of always the same voice. And he loves women, and he loves just doing his thing, and it's a fun character. But those straightforward sort of straight shooters I like a lot.
Asshole. He knows it. He owns it. He's fine with it.
Yeah. I embrace it.
What piece of advice would you give to someone just starting their narrating career?
Don't spend a ton of money on equipment, because obviously if it's not going to work out, then you've just wasted a lot of money. I mean, you can get quality equipment for a low price as you get higher up. This mic I'm talking on is a TLM 49, as you can see it. They can't, but we can. Look it up. It's a Neumann TLM 49, and guess what it does? It sits beside my desk. I don't even use it. I use a M64 Sennheiser 416 is what I use for recording now. It's a wonderful. I find it wonderful. Not that this is a bad one, but this is a $1,600 microphone that just sits here all day and almost does nothing. So don't waste your money. You can get a great mic for a couple $100. You can get a nice audio interface for a couple $100, and I have an iMac. An iMac that I like, but you can use PCs that are less expensive, or used. My first computer was used. But the most important thing is to find quality coaching and do a lot of research on what you're getting into, because saying, hey, I'm going to get into voiceover, okay. It's like saying, I'm going to Australia next year. That's a big place. Where are you going? You go Sydney, Brisbane, where are you going? Voiceover is such a huge universe, which is another thing I love about it. But, narration, whether it's books or e-learning or commercials, it's all part of the same universe. It's just different planets, right? So I put my flag in the audiobook universe for now. And you find the coaching for the thing that you think you want to get into, or maybe a general coach to start to see if you even have the chops. Because even though they say it's not, this is my opinion, they say, well, it's not so much the voice, it's your ability to act. True, but if you sound like this all the time, I don't think you're going to get a lot of business. I just, that's just me. I think there is a quality that you do have to your voice. I'm not saying you have to be, smooth like, what's his name? Doctor Strange, Benedict Cumberbatch, whatever. That guy's voice is awesome, right? You don't have to have that kind of voice, but you have to have an ability to use it, and it has to be listenable, right? And some people just don't. They just don't. But you got to have coaching. You got to have somebody to be honest with you and tell you, I think you can do this, and help you through it. And you have to be willing to persevere, and you have to have thick effing skin. Yeah. So all those things together.
If you could only recommend one of your audiobooks to a listener, which would it be?
That's a hard one because...
Think of it this way. They can listen to more of your books, but you want to hook them with this one.
Give me 1 second. I'm going to type up Audible.
You're going to look up your books?
I'm going to look at my books.
I'll take a bite of my dinner.
Well, yeah, we can talk while I'm typing. I've got about approximately 270 audiobooks out there, a third of which are Connor Brown books, and the rest are The Other Idiot. Let's see. There's a couple that are really good lately that have come out. I hate when you pull up your search and there's books that aren't you. Like, who the hell is this?
My pseudonym has lapped me twice now.
Really?
Oh, yeah. She gets all the work.
Let's see the best-selling one. Let's take a look. Right now, it's King of Corium. So let's go with that one. I mean, it's a good book. I mean, it's got its romance. It's don't want to use the word violent, but it is a rough, as romances go. I would say it's a fairly rough book as romances go, because there's some fairly hard scenes in there. But if you like, hard love and I mean, Hustler magazine style. I was
going to say dirty stuff, the dirty stuff.
Yeah, which is fine with me. And again, my wife says, you just like that stuff because it's like porn. I'm like, well,
yeah,
if you say so. Maybe that's why I'm good at romances.
I really enjoy when I meet new people and, we're all saying, well, what do you do? Well, I'm an accountant. I'm a teacher. I'm a lawyer. I read dirty, dirty books.
Yeah, right? And my daughter, she'll be 18 in August, but she'll joke around and she'll say, I said, you should be the one who reads my name at the beginning, because she'll go, oh, was that one by Connor Brown? Yes. Yes, it was. But they've not heard the romances. My wife actually proofed one for me once, because she's really good at that stuff. And she was like, she's not a romance fan at all. She's like, how do people listen to this? I'm like, honey, they do. And thank God that they do.
Right?
Right. I like them. I would never read one on my own time. I would never. But I enjoy reading them for this. I enjoy doing them, I should say. It's not even reading them. I'm doing them, and I enjoy that.
If you could choose one audiobook that you did not narrate that you wish you had, what would that be?
The Martian.
Oh, that'd be a good one.
Who narrated that?
First it was R.C. Bray, then it was Will Wheaton, and I never heard the R.C. Bray version. I've only heard Will Wheaton's version of The Martian, which I thought was fine. A lot of people hate on him. But it's not fair because, like with anything, right? I'm trying to think of a movie you might have seen that you saw originally and thought it was great. Like Red Dawn, right? Red Dawn back in the day with Patrick Swayze. Awesome movie, right? The new one sucked. Is it the actor's fault? Maybe, maybe not. Probably not. It's the writers and the director. But Will Wheaton did a fine job, I thought, right? But I would love to have had a shot at a book like that.
That'd be amazing.
Yeah, wouldn't it be?
That wraps up the main questions that we have, but we do have a fun bonus section that we like to call Hot Six. Are you ready for this?
I am.
Buckle up, listeners. It's time for Hot Six.
Question number 1. What is the most overrated book you've ever read?
Shit, that's a hard one. Damn. Lord of the Rings. The movie was better.
Question 2. What famous literary work have you never read but feel like you should have?
Anything by Joyce.
Question 3. If you could be any animal for one day, what would you be?
Cat.
Question 4. What is your biggest grammatical pet peeve?
Supposedly is the word, not supposably.
That took you no time at all.
Nope. And I was an English major.
So you've never gone to the library then either?
I hate the library, but it's actually not bad in a drink.
Question 5. Looking back over your entire lifetime, what is your most embarrassing favorite song?
Oh, hell. I'm a Barbie girl in a Barbie world.
Is that a commercial?
No, that's a song. That was a song. That was a hit song probably about, 20 years ago. You don't remember that song?
I don't remember that song.
You gotta be kidding
I grew
me.
up in the wrong decade, so.
No way. You probably can't play it on here because just look it up later. I'm a Barbie girl, and you'll find it on YouTube.
Okay. Question 6. What is one thing you wish you could uninvent?
Social media.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, it's as much as a cancer as it is a panacea. I mean, it's great for getting in touch with people, keeping in touch with people. But it's just I think it's destroyed us. If you look at the divide this country faces, and I think you can almost go back to the beginning of MySpace and then the beginnings of Facebook and track it up and see.
Don't blame Tom.
He was my first friend.
He's always happy to be there. Thumbs up and everything.
Yeah. I'm getting so serious and dark, No, I just think that as much as it's useful and helpful and keeping in touch with family and sharing your kids' glories and all, it's also just I don't have Twitter. I got rid of it. I thought it was a toilet bowl of just nonsense. I keep Facebook because of the business. I don't have Insta. I have LinkedIn because I use it as a business thing. But that's it. But it is. My wife doesn't have it. She's smart. But it's a time suck, and it's just I don't know. I think it's done a lot of bad things for us. I don't know.
I almost think that, even the benefits, supposed benefits of it, like, keeping in touch with everybody has turned out to be, has kind of begun to eat itself. Now we're keeping track of people, and they only share the highlights. It's like everybody's showing their highlight reel, so everybody else's life looks better. It's just,
Yeah, you're right. Again, that's keeping up with the Joneses. Oh, look at my new car. Look at my kid. They're so wonderful. And they are. My kids are wonderful. But you're right. So you do that, and or you put something up, and your wife's aunt says, "Hey, why did he put this up?" And you're like, I was just putting a picture of the kids up. So it's like I have to explain myself because again, my wife doesn't have it. So. She, I'm like, I'm not doing anything bad. It's just a picture of you. And I hear it, like with my wife, I don't post pictures of her.
And I was raised too, like things you don't talk about is, money, politics, and religion. Yeah, and that's like the first thing that everybody talks about. It's like, I didn't want to know that you thought this. I used to respect you. Like,
I'm guilty of it too. I'm guilty of it because it's like, so I have demos on I have two websites, one for Connor and one for the other guy. And the other guy is the main guy, and he has a medical demo and he has a political demo. And I I'm not hardcore. I'm not registered either way, but I definitely lean right. But I have a foot deep ankle, calf deep into the left as well, because there's some things about the right I don't agree with. There's a lot more with the left I don't agree with. However, I try to see both sides, and we used to be able to do that, right, and talk about it and just disagree and be cool with it. But now it's just so venomous and nasty, and
it's tribal.
Yeah, it's horrible. So it's like, and I live right outside of D.C., so we're hyper political. I've always lived here, and it's hyper political here. Yeah, I think social media would be the best thing if we could uninvent that and just go back to corresponding with ink and quills.
Morse code, semaphore.
Morse code, phone
Smoke
calls,
signals.
actually like we're doing now, speaking as humans, on the phone. Or
Oh, wow, what a concept, right?
Yeah, right? God damn, how did they do that back in the 80s, right?
Well, this has been great, Connor. Thank you so much for being on Flock Talk. I really appreciate your time.
I appreciate you all having me, really.
All right.
Thanks for coming.
You've been listening to Flock Talk, the podcast where we feature your favorite authors and narrators. Hosted by Craig Hart and Sarah Hannon. This podcast is produced by Pink Flamingo Productions. Editing by Craig Hart. Visit us today at pinkflamingoproductions.com.